But you never know that you could. And when you feel that way, ain't it good, good dancing in the red and gold. Dancing in the red and gold.
What's up, Faithful? Welcome to the 49er Faithful UK Live. As always, I'm your host, Paul Hope. And once again, I'm joined by the legend, that is Lee Gowland.
Now then, buddy, how we doing?
Well, Lee, it's officially game week. That's right, Faithful. The long wait for NFL football is over. You'll all be delighted to know we will be recording the next episode of the pod tomorrow night, where we'll be looking ahead to Monday Night Football, or Tuesday at 1 a.m, as we call it on this side of the pond. And Lee, we will be making some bold predictions. So Alex Simpson, get that pen and paper ready, buddy. But go on, Lee. At this point, you're dying.
I'll let you continue, mate.
So I just wanted to say that before we welcome today's guest onto the show and dive into all things 49ers and the topic of tonight, which was the Turkey Bowl, I wanted to take a moment, Lee, to send our best wishes to Ricky Pearsall. This is the first time that we've gone live since what happened at the weekend, and I felt it only right to start tonight's show by sending Ricky our best wishes as he recovers. Thank God he survived, and I also wanted to give a special shout out to the San Francisco Police Department and Sergeant Joelle Harrell. If you've seen the video, she spoke about what she did to help Ricky, and it is much appreciated by all the faithful. So I thought we should start there tonight, Lee, before we moved on.
Yeah, no problem, mate. I mean, what we saw at the weekend, I'm absolutely gobsmacked. I know there's been a lot said about how dangerous San Francisco is now, and I'll fully admit I stick up for San Francisco all the time. So I've never seen any of these issues. Obviously, this happened in Union Square, which is a touristy area. That's one of the main touristy areas. I think what you can say is he was definitely targeted for that watch. They knew exactly what they were going for. This wasn't a random robbery and shooting. They knew exactly who he was and what they wanted from him. Not that makes it any better, of course. It's still a shocking incident, and he's been incredibly lucky. And from all accounts, he's already back in the facility, in the weight room, which I find absolutely gobsmacking, to be honest. But obviously that bodes well. If he's back in the weight room and he's doing weights, then he's not going to miss that much game time. But again, that's just completely trivial to what could have happened. So, yeah, over the moon that he's okay. I actually, to be honest, when I first came through, the first feed I saw it on was Wayne Breezy. And I honestly trust Wayne implicitly. But when I saw it, I thought, I need to check this, because it just didn't seem real.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, to counter to back up what Lee's saying, obviously we're football fans and this is a football show. Our best wishes are to Ricky. It doesn't matter how long it takes for him to recover. But you're right, Lee, as English fans of American football, I was at work today and people were asking me, oh, your player got shot at the weekend. And I'm like, yep. He's back in the weight room. He's back with the team. And obviously, for those people tuning in who might like English football, it's crazy to think that a player of American football was shot at the weekend, Lee, and he's back in the facility. But Shell, you know how much me and Lee love San Francisco, so we had to shout out the city with pride.
You know what? It does kind of make you think back to the Premier League, and when some of the players go down. And the running joke is somebody shot him from Rosette. There must have been a sniper getting him.
I mean, to be fair, buddy, we can sit here and talk about that in a positive light. I mean, John Lynch spoke at the podium yesterday. There was a few people on social media at the weekend. There was a lot of false narratives going around. And I'm kind of glad, Lee, that we didn't go live until tonight. Because like you, I saw the news and I thought, oh, God, should we jump out live? Should we not jump on live? And obviously, I'm glad the dust has settled, and as we said, he is okay. That's the main thing. But Shell, me and Lee will always stick up for your city. But I did think, Lee, Union Square is somewhere that we were last year. And when you talked to me a couple of years ago about going to San Francisco, you talked about Union Square, and it was somewhere that I wanted to go. So to have that link of something so tragic at the weekend, it just goes to show you that life can sometimes be too short. But we're not putting a downer on tonight's show because, Lee, football is back, baby.
It is. And you know what? This week, the events that have happened this week, outside of Ricky Purcell, that is, the events that have happened this week have suddenly got me feeling a lot more comfortable about the season. Because, it was only last Thursday, was it, we did the podcast? I might have been before that. And I had this uneasy feeling about our first game of the season going up against the Jets. And that feeling has now gone. I'm now feeling confident again. Of course, we've got two players who've missed a lot of pre-season, a lot of the training camp. How quickly they can get up to speed, don't know. I think Trent's got a better chance than what Brandon has, because Brandon needs to have that chemistry. And it's the type of position he plays. I think it's going to make it a little bit harder on him. But yeah, so we can talk about that if you want.
Yeah, well, to be fair, buddy, I was just catching up on the chat. We did decide off air before we got into tonight's topic, which I know it's something close to your heart, the Turkey Bowl. I'm looking forward to diving into that later. We do have to chat about Brandon Aiyuk and Trent Williams. And as you've said it better than me, let's start with Aiyuk. When I was preparing for tonight, everyone, as Lee said, we recorded the pod a couple of days ago. And if you haven't listened to Gowland's epic rant, you need to go and listen to Gowland's epic rant, because no sooner had we pressed end record,
it was less
the
than an
news
hour.
filtered through and said Brandon Aiyuk has signed his new contract, which you were thrilled about, weren't you, Lee? I mean, let's make no bones about it.
I did turn around and say, look, just sign the goddamn contract. And he did. So he must have heard. He must have known all about it. But yeah, I couldn't believe that less than an hour after we'd finished doing the recording. I don't think I'd even processed the first stream of audio by the time that news came through. And I was sat there thinking, you know what, shall I just scrap this and we can do another one tomorrow night? No, let's get it out there.
I mean, that's the joy of
fun.
Being a content creator, Lee. So we're going to start off with Brandon Aiyuk is going nowhere. Now, if you listen to the UK faithful, we had been saying all summer long Aiyuk wasn't going anywhere. But Gowland nearly lost the faith. But Brandon Aiyuk must have been listening, Lee, because he thought, right, I'm going to come back. So the uncertainty went. He's decided to remain with the 49ers. 4-year contract extension, Lee, announced Friday. The contract's worth $120 million. He receives $76 million guaranteed with this deal. And apparently the contract is front-loaded.
Brandon Aiyuk?
Yeah.
Right, 73 million guaranteed if the contract completes.
Right. So I had 76 on my figures, but basically it's front-loaded, and he'll receive roughly 45 to 47 million between now and April the 1st.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as he signed, that was it. 45 million is fully guaranteed, so he's getting that regardless. And like I said, I mean, the rest is whether or not the contract completes. So obviously he'll have a guarantee each year, but if we trade him or anything else happens, then we don't need to pay that guaranteed money. And that's the difference between guaranteed and fully guaranteed. The guaranteed is if the contract completes, the fully guaranteed is whatever they get at signing.
So for us, the good news is the Joe Staley bobblehead giveaway has a winner. Now, before people get too excited, I think there was a couple of winning entries, because I think when speaking to Nadji, we've decided to go with the new annual average of 30 million, which is tied for 5th among NFL receivers. So stay tuned to the podcast coming out this week. I'm doing a Gowland, I'm teeing you up. We'll announce the winner on the podcast, but there is a winner. The Joe Staley bobblehead has a new home, and Lee, you might not have to post it, buddy, because you might be able to hand it to the lucky winner at the London watch party.
Yeah, with any luck. So, yeah, that's just reminded us, this is the Joe Staley bobblehead I have, isn't it?
Yes, you've got that one, because I sent the other one out.
So, I'll tell you what, it's a good job you said that. Otherwise, next weekend, I'd have been going down there without it in my bag. So I'm glad you've said that. But yeah, I think without giving it away, I think we settled on how to decide this when we did the podcast, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
I was in the podcast group and we said, yeah, it has to be this way. Yeah.
It was just fine. When I was preparing for tonight's show, I thought, right, mention it, but I know we've got another show tomorrow night, so rather than rush the announcement tonight, but
Yeah.
taking that back, Brandon Aiyuk, one of my favourites, he's been someone that we've all spoke highly about on this show, Lee. I'm safe to say you're delighted that he's staying in San Francisco. Are you getting yourself an 11 jersey to add to your growing collection?
I'm not. I'm not, and I'll tell you why. I'm sick of the quality that's coming out of Fanatics. I'm resigned to just buying Mitchell and Ness jerseys now, so it's going to be legacy players. If I do go through the Fanatics route again, I think it'll be a big splash because I would buy the Elite jersey. However, I think the Elite jersey is going the same way as the Limited jersey because they haven't restocked the size that I want in the Elite, and it looks as though they're just running the stock down. So by the looks of it, they're going to end up just burning in the numbers on the Elite jersey as well. And if they do that, there's no way I'm paying $300 for that, for a heat transfer. So we'll wait and see. Obviously, somebody put that link in for the Chinese store, and the quality of the goods that they received looked very, very good indeed. If the colour doesn't run, which I'm hoping it doesn't, then I think that's where I'm going to be getting my jerseys from.
So whilst we're chatting, people in the chat, do let us know your thoughts. Brandon Aiyuk, drop an 11, drop a 49er Faithful UK. We're going to start this season, Lee, on the live, getting the chat to interact. So I want to know, you at home who are watching us, your thoughts on the Brandon Aiyuk news. Like you, I have looked at a couple of new jerseys, but I like the legend fit. And you're right in what you're saying, Lee. This time last year, there was a lot of choice. There was a lot of players. And this year, the choices are a little bit limited. I've been looking on eBay. There's a Purdy Vapor Limited. It must be one of last year's jersey that I'm looking at. But we've got a couple of watch parties coming up. So I've got to save my pennies for those, mate. I mean, a few people keep putting two and two together with stuff that you keep posting on social media.
They do. And I don't know why they're doing it. They're just torturing themselves. They are. But I'm glad you've mentioned that. So next Wednesday when we do the live, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to wear several shirts, several jerseys during that live show. One of those jerseys will be the player that's turning up to the watch party. That's what I'm going to do. Because I think come next Wednesday, I think we should be letting people know. Just based off what's happened, I mean, I've seen people are ordering jerseys off the cuff because they've put two and two together and come up with 52, shall we say. We've got people buying mini helmets and all sorts. So I'm going to wear 3 different jerseys next Wednesday. I'm just thinking about this now, and the more I think about it, the more I'm going to enjoy this.
I'm going to say, what do you think you are, Gary Thorpe?
It's going to kill people. It's going to kill people.
But all jokes aside...
I'm already thinking of the 3 jerseys I'm going to wear.
Oh, I know how your mind works. I can see the smile on your face. However, people will also put 2 and 2 together because we're hoping to have a special guest. So those people who watched last week will have saw Jordan Spector released his card of Patrick Willis. He is an Eagles fan, and he's over in Brazil this week to watch the Packers-Eagles game. But he's hoping to jump on with us next week, Lee. So I thought as soon as we put that out there, that Jordan Spector is joining the show to talk about his experience and working with Patrick, added to the fact that you're probably going to be wearing a 52 jersey amongst one of the many that you've just said you're going to wear. I can't wait to see social media going to meltdown.
Yeah.
So, Kev, I do believe there are still tickets for the watch party.
Yeah, there's 304 being registered, standard free tickets. So there's still another 196 because apparently the downstairs capacity is 500 and then you've got the VIP area which is upstairs. Now I thought they were both combined within the 500 capacity, but they're not. So it's not oversubscribed. So if we sell out, every person that has registered for a ticket will get into the venue. It holds 500. There's been 500 tickets put up for sale. So you needn't worry about not getting in.
So, Richard, Do not worry, buddy.
No, I'm not, Richard.
There's a nice feature on here where you can turn your camera on or off. So I have a feeling that's what he's going to do. However,
See, the problem with that feature, Richard, is the person that controls this can also turn it back on again. So when I go to change, I'll be leaving the room.
No,
I don't want to give anybody any nightmares.
I wouldn't do that to you, but I know fine when you do that to me. So
probably
we are disappearing down the rabbit hole, people. Now, before we get all giddy about the watch party, there is another piece of news, Lee, which we touched upon in the pod, and we were kind of hoping that once the Aiyuk news would, once Aiyuk was either traded or contract signed, Trent Williams. So, do you want to give your thoughts on the Trent Williams before I give my thoughts on the news of the new contract?
So, I always thought Trent Williams would be signed with a new contract before the Jets game. I actually thought it'd be before now. I thought he might have been able to get at least one game in the last pre-season game. That hasn't happened. Having said that, I think looking back at last year, the year before, we didn't really play Trent much at all during pre-season. He basically got the veterans day off during the games. I think the most he played in pre-season was one half. I fully expect him to come back and be a little bit rusty, but not too much. Having said that, like I said, I was going to be nervous going up against the Jets. I think the Jets' defence are a very good defence. I'm glad it's going to be Trent Williams at left tackle and not Jalen Moore. I think Jalen Moore does a reasonable job, but he's no Trent Williams. And I think the money that Trent is getting, it's worth what he is. He's the best left tackle in the league at the moment. And he's well on his way to the Hall of Fame. I think that's without question. Once he retires in 5 years' time, he's going to be a first-round ballot Hall of Famer.
So the reason I asked for your thoughts, and before I answered Jay there, the strange thing for me yesterday, Lee, is supporting a West Coast-based team isn't easy being in the UK. And the news tends to break at the wrong end of the day for us. So the Brandon Aiyuk news leaked out 11:30, close to midnight where we were. But the Trent Williams news broke early on the West Coast yesterday. So Brad Graham, big shout out to Brad. I think he had 0 hours sleep. I think he tweeted out a picture of Trent Williams getting on his private jet. I think Brad had lifted that from Trent's brother's social media. So you know me, plugged in. I retweeted that. Now I felt a little bit like Chris Wood yesterday, Lee, because other content creators started DMing me and asking who my source was, what had I heard, and it was breaking news. And I was kind of like, well, Brad Graham shared this, and then there was a couple of insiders, Adam Schefter, Rappaport. So you know it's kind of genuine news. It isn't just kind of like the fake account, because me and you both know to check that before we retweet.
Yeah.
So the rework deal, you've got the numbers on there, 3-year deal effectively worth 82.66 million. His agency announced that Tuesday. It's given him 48 million fully guaranteed at signing and a 25.69 million signing bonus, giving him 103 million in guarantees since he joined us in 2021. And as you said, he is worth every single penny of that guarantee. Because as you said, all of a sudden, the vibes around San Francisco, if you listen to certain content creators, were of a negative connotation until Brandon Aiyuk signed. Then Trent Williams is back in. And seeing our footage of him at the training ground yesterday, Lee, of him like dabbing up people and high-fiving people. And then he's a leader in that locker room.
Yeah.
So him coming back gives the whole organisation a boost, doesn't it, buddy?
It does. Now, the reason I brought Richie Stockdale's comment back up there is because I completely agree with that. So it's a 3-year contract. However, realistically, I think he's only going to play 2 years. And that's it. That's him done. And if we win the Super Bowl this year, I think he will retire immediately after the Super Bowl. I don't think he'll play anymore. I think once he has that ring, that's him done. So I think that's why it's quite front-loaded. He wants to make as much money as possible before he goes. And like I said, I think it's a maximum of 2 years that he'll play. I can't see him playing past next season.
I mean, I've seen a few people, Mr. Kent, trying to say that the front office are not happy. Shanahan and Lynch are on the hot seat because of the money spent. Trent Williams, Lee, had 3 years, $77.3 million left on his original deal, but with zero guaranteed. The
Yeah.
restructure gives him 3 years, as you've said, 82.6 with 48 million at signing. Apparently, to answer Jay's question, we've tacked on the 5.3 million from his original deal, which should offset the 5.3 million in fines, because under the agreement we can't offset it. I think last time, as he was a free agent technically, they were allowed to offset some of the fines, but because this is a restructure, they've done him a solid basically. And I think that's what he meant, you know, at the podium yesterday when the media said to him, how did it work? And he said, look, it's been like a war. There's blood being spilled on both sides, but we've signed the peace deal. I'm happy. I'm here. And then he spoke glowingly of the team. And I'm just glad he's back. Because I don't know about you, buddy. My outlook on Monday's game and our offensive line is a million times different to what it was if we'd recorded this pod on Monday night.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Like I said, I mean, I was getting a little bit nervous about that game. I think everybody's going into the season thinking, "Great, we've got the Jets. It's going to be a walkover." I think it's going to be anything far from a walkover, especially when at the time we were missing Trent Williams. I still think it's going to be a really tough game. It's going to surprise people. I'm just glad he's back. I'm glad the O-line is now looking a little bit better than it was last year. Actually, I'm going to say it looks a lot better, to be honest, because I mean, Pooney has really impressed me. I'm trying to think who it was that made a big deal about Colton McKivitz getting pushed back on a play or something. I think what I've seen of Colton McKivitz during pre-season, I still think he looks better than what he did at the start of last season, without a shadow of a doubt. And again, that's pre-season. People are starting to get at the groove. It's going to be week 3 by the time people are game fit. So, I mean, even the Vikings game, the watch party, it might not be as exciting as what we're expecting it to be. Hopefully it is, because obviously we're going up against Sam Bradford, and hopefully he's going to be a turnover machine. But he might not be. He might end up having the same type of game as what Kirk Cousins did last year against us. And then there's going to be questions asked, you can guarantee. And it's just our luck something like that would happen, especially with it being a watch party in the UK, because you know how those go.
Now. I mean, so, Luke, before we dive into off a rabbit hole, I don't know whether you've misheard whether I said the vibrations or the vibes. If they are vibrations, I am trying to multitask, which I'm not great at. So the 49er Faithful UK, one of the fantasy leagues, we're currently drafting at the moment. Now, you'll all be delighted to know that I had the number 1 pick, so I went with CMC, but we're kind of keeping an eye, aren't we, Lee? Because tonight's guest isn't quite with us yet, so we're keeping an eye on the bottom corner. This is the new thing for the live on a Wednesday, Lee. We book a guest in, and then we have to wait, and we have to see whether they're going to turn up or not, like last week. So this is 2 weeks in a row where we're kind of like, is the guest joining us? Is he not joining us?
Yeah, so I'm kind of hoping he hasn't getting stage fright there. I mean, he's well accustomed to... Oh, he's just read me message there.
Right.
He's well accustomed to being in front of the camera because he does it every single game day. He commentates on the game. He gives reviews as soon as the game's finished. In fact, he does half-time reviews from the stadium most of the time. Did you give the name before?
I didn't give the name before because you know me. I like to give the guest a special introduction.
So it's a name pretty much all of the UK fan base is going to recognise. But it's not the person you're thinking of. So we're going to be joined by Brian Davis. There is 2 of them. There's the US Brian Davis and the UK Brian Davis. This is the US Brian Davis. So he's just getting ready now. He's just had to do a family errand, and he's going to be on in a moment. So Brian is, I think he's the colour commentator for Washington High School. Washington High School is where he used to go to school, and I had hoped to get a picture. I'll have to try and find a picture because Washington High School, the football field, the backdrop is the Golden Gate Bridge, and it's an amazing backdrop. So let me see if I can find that photo because you have to see this.
So, Shell, it's not Patrick tonight. But after last week, I am determined to get 52 on the show. But as I said, Jordan will be coming on hopefully next week. Yes, Martin, Grant Kent is who I'm talking about. I don't often comment on some of the negative tweets that I see out there, but that one yesterday was absolutely ridiculous. And I don't care whether this gets screen grabbed, sent across. We do this for the love of our team. And if you can't support this team, then I don't know why you cover this team. But there's no chance in my mind that the front office are unhappy that we've managed to keep the team that went within one drive of winning the Super Bowl, and we've kept all 11 offensive starters. We're fairly healthy. You've just got to think back, Lee, to where we were before they took over. So I just think this whole narrative of they've got to win a Super Bowl this year, there'll be changes. Yeah. I'm not buying that at all.
Yeah, they're definitely not on the hot seat. That's for sure. That's for sure. If, for all intents and purposes, they've been successful. We just haven't had that ultimate success. So while we wait for Brian to join, and I think he'll be joining us very shortly indeed, hopefully we should be able to see this. There we go. So this is the high school that Brian went to, and he now does the commentary for them, and that is the backdrop to the high school football field.
Wow,
that is absolutely amazing.
That is pretty impressive, not going to lie.
Epic.
That is epic. But Lee, keep that on there. So Luke, he's put the vibrations is his lingo. But we have a super chat from our very good friend, Nicholas Power is in the house. He says, hello, my great friends across the pond, El Presidente and Paul. A lot has happened in a week, and this continues to be the most interesting team in the world. And he's glad to be along for the ride. And he says, go Niners. And then he also follows in with, what a view. So sorry, Lee, I had to interrupt there. We had to show Nicholas the love. We appreciate the support, buddy. Great to have you on the live. But that view. Go on, Lee, back over to you.
So I walked past that back in 2022. So this is when me and David Ellicott decided to walk all the way from the Kezar pub, because they closed really early on Thanksgiving. And we were on our way to Baker Beach, which you can kind of just see in the background there. So just to the right of the Golden Gate Bridge, down the bottom there, that's Baker Beach. You can get some stunning photos there. And we walked all the way through Golden Gate Park. Or actually, we didn't walk all the way through Golden Gate Park because it was taking us a lot longer than we thought it would. So we kind of cut off about 2/3 of the way towards, I think you call it Ocean Drive, and then cut up towards this area. And then we ended up going through, I think, Lincoln, you call the area, which is one of the football teams that were in the Turkey Bowl last year. And then on the way round to the Presidio, down into Baker Beach, and we were stood there for a couple of hours taking photos. But yeah, we walked past this. I think this was only one block over. You could kind of just make out the stadium. I'm saying the stadium. It's got one big stand. But yeah, it was impressive from what we could see from there.
Yeah, it's as Red Jet Shell put there. That is George Washington High School on top of a hill. Best views of the city from that school. I'm going to put Nicholas's comment back up because what I missed. Look at his profile picture, Lee.
Oh yes,
he has the UK faithful flag, which we love to see. It always brings me pride when our friends across the pond fly our flag with pride. So Nicholas, you're doing a great job of representing, buddy, and we do appreciate the love.
That's complete. That is complete. That's complete dedication there. Not only is he repping the 49er fair for UK, but he's also repping Joshua Dobbs.
Yeah, I know you'd see that. And
and thank you for the super chat.
And Martin has put there, Lee, that why don't we just grab an interview with 52 at the watch party? I mean, Dawn must know something that we don't if Martin's dropping comments like that in the chat.
So is that 52 or 5 + 2 = 7 or 5 - 2 = 3? Could be any one of those, please.
So because it's linked to what we're talking about tonight, so Martin's put when he's out in San Francisco in October, he's going to be having a bevy with Kazi in the Kezar pub. Now, I managed to step foot into the Kezar pub for about 30 seconds when I was meeting Ted Talks Ball, when me and Nadji went for a walk around. And I'll be honest, you and Nadji, between you, kind of put together a bit of an itinerary for my whistle stop tour. And the Kezar Stadium was one that I'm really, really proud to say that I went and had a walk around. And I wasn't there long, Lee. I got my photo at the the archway.
Yeah.
And kind of, I know you've talked about the Turkey Bowl when you and David Ellicott have been over there, and to kind of be in among 49ers history just felt special to me. So I wanted to mention that there whilst we wait for our guest to get ready. And we've got another super chat, Red Jet Shell. So she's sending love from California, US to the UK, and she's, let's go Niners. Yes, Red Jet Shell. Now, what's difficult for doing the live tonightly is we don't want to give too much away ahead of Monday Night Football, because we decided that the live is going to be a standalone to the pod. So tonight, people tuning in, we just want to clarify that our thoughts ahead of Monday night will be recorded tomorrow. It's unlikely Nadji is going to join us, so I think it'll be me, you and Gareth. So if you do want to know more about our thoughts on Monday Night Football, but I can confirm that I will be staying up for it. I have Tuesday booked off Workley, and I'm guessing you'll be staying up and watching live.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'll definitely be staying up watching live. Really looking forward to it. I'm very tempted to stay up tomorrow night to watch the Chiefs-Ravens game. But then I'm probably doing myself a disservice because I've got an exam to take on Friday. So I think I could do with a good night's sleep and then a little bit more revision Friday morning before I take that exam. So yeah, I'm more than likely to catch it in the morning. But normally, if it's not the 49ers involved in the first game, I wouldn't stay up on a Thursday night or early Friday morning, as it is for us, to watch it. I'll just catch it the next morning. But I think this is going to be a really good game. I think they've chosen an absolute cracker to open the season. I think there's going to be surprise. I can actually see the Ravens winning that game, which would be quite a statement win for them heading into the season, to put the Chiefs on the back foot straight away as far as the number one seed in the AFC is concerned. And obviously there's a few analysts who are predicting 49ers-Ravens Super Bowl, with the 49ers avenging the 2012 defeat. So hopefully something like that does come true. Personally, I'd rather beat the Chiefs in the final, in the Super Bowl, rather than the Ravens, because obviously the Ravens, it's a completely different team from 2012. But the Chiefs, it's the same team that beat us in February. That kind of, the same team, we allowed them to beat us because they weren't the best team, we were. And I'm adamant about that.
Yeah, it's, I mean, as Kev's put there, Discord is going to be the place to be on Monday morning / Tuesday morning, Kev. So we do have a few features of our group. For those of you tuning in from across the pond, we have the Facebook game day post where people can engage. And we last year we started to move towards Discord because it keeps the comments in chronological order, doesn't it, Lee? There's no jumping around. And it's just, when you're at home in the UK and it's 2, 3 in the morning and you're trying to be quiet, it's just somewhere nice to be able to kind of vent and go through the emotional roller coaster. So I tend to stay away from the chats, if I'm honest, Kev, because I'm watching the game and I kind of want to take in everything that I'm watching. But what about you, Lee? Do you kind of stay away from the game day chats as well and just stick to...
I do, especially now that I'm just confined to DAZN and that's it, because there's a little bit of a lag there. And there's nothing worse, whether or not it's a positive player or a negative player, there's nothing worse than finding out about it 10 seconds beforehand during the chat and then seeing it on the TV. And it kind of distracts you as well. So I'm the type of person who just likes to watch the game. And I need to be honest, because obviously we review the game. So I like to watch it with the emotions, as we all do, during the live. And then I'll go back and I'll watch the game in 40 and take the emotion out of it, just so I can actually work out what happened or see the bits that I've missed because I've been too excited with the way the game's gone.
Yeah, so Nick, he's put there that he always likes to represent. Great reference to Dobbs. This made me chuckle. So when you had the picture on earlier, Martin was trying to flick some fluff off the screen. Turns out it was a football. Always good for a laugh. And Nicholas has put there that there's nothing wrong with speaking of Faxley. We were definitely the better team, but hopefully we get over the hump this year. I have seen a lot of chatter on social media. Neil Reynolds once again surprised me. He's gone for the Niners being in the Super Bowl. He called it last year. He does get a lot of hate from the NFL UK community.
I can't understand that.
To be fair to him, if anyone's going to shout out for the Niners, I'm going to retweet that. So he's gone for a Niners-Ravens. I'll share my thoughts tomorrow because we're kind of doing a bit of a double header. We're doing the season preview and we're going to look ahead to the Jets game. But like you, I will be watching on DAZN. I renewed mine thanks to that cheeky 50% code that was kicking around yesterday. Tried it yesterday afternoon, Lee. It didn't work. Connor Ryan then messaged me later on, which what I love about this community. He tried it, it worked. I tried it again, it worked for me. But strangely, it hasn't worked for others since I've shared the link. So the reason I mention it, Lee, if anybody does receive a link between now and the season starting for DAZN, do share it because there is some members in the group looking for some discount. And if we can pass that on, we will. Kev, it's all right, buddy. Tuesday morning. We have to get into that habit because for us, it is a Tuesday morning kickoff. And Martin has put that he stays off the game day chat because there's always a delay. And as he said there, the Chiefs got lucky in the moment and they needed it. But when I look back on last year, Lee, before this season, I still think it was one hell of a ride. I mean, for us as a group, for the UK chapter, it was still one hell of a ride. So,
yeah, and like you've said before, it's well documented. You've said this before. The amount of games we actually had meetups for last season, whether or not they were official meetups or unofficial meetups, I think we managed to watch the game together 8 times out of the 17 games.
Yeah,
which is pretty impressive.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic, Lee.
And obviously one of those was actually at Levi's, so it just makes it all the more better.
Yeah, I mean, getting ready for this season, so obviously the gold mine isn't going ahead, as you said a couple of weeks ago. The Chiefs game in October, we will be having... I'm going to share with you, Lee, I've seen a few people call meetups unofficial meetups or mini meets. Yeah. And I'm like you, I want to change the wording of these to a local meetup because it doesn't matter whether it's official, unofficial.
That's right.
So the reason I mention that is Georgina, who's a member of our group, she has created a local watch party for those people in Manchester. So if you're unable to get down to London for week 2 for the Vikings game, Georgina is hosting a 49er Faithful UK meetup at the Brotherhood of Pursuits. She's created an event on our Facebook page. If you're watching this show, you're not on Facebook and you want more details, drop us a message. So Georgina, it's great that you've done that. Sky have announced, Lee, that it's the 6 o'clock game. So if you're not able to make London, honestly, people, this will be the time if you want to get a few of the faithful together and head to your local casino, your local sports bar. It's going to be on Sky Sports. So you're not asking the bar, the casino to do anything illegal or anything they can't do. So I did think it was good to see Georgina arrange that. And I'm hoping between now and...
I was over the moon.
Yeah, I'm hoping some more pop up, buddy.
Yeah, definitely, because it's not very often you get 2 weeks' notice that we're going to be on Sky. So it was, I mean, obviously you can look at the red eye games, but the red eye games are out of the question anyway, unless you go to, like you said, a casino to watch them during the night. And nobody wants to go to a casino and watch them during the night, especially not on a Thursday night, because it means you're going to have to take the Friday off. Whereas if you watch it at home, then you can get a couple of hours sleep and then go to work, or if you're lucky enough and you work at home, you can work from home. But I think it's great that people are doing the local meetups. I think you're right. I kind of noticed that today when it said unofficial meetup. I thought, well, let's try and get away from the unofficial stuff, because believe it or not, that puts a little bit of pressure on us. Because then, to me, it kind of implies that an official meetup has to have us there, or it has to be arranged by us. And that does put a little bit of pressure on us, because obviously if we do that, then it's costing us quite a lot of money. If we're going to do this all over the country, do it whenever we can, if people expect us to be there. Whereas what we're trying to do is get people to do local meetups around the country and to be responsible for that. And then maybe one day one of us will turn up to one of those local meets. I'm sure if I wasn't down London, I could probably do Manchester.
Yeah.
I mean, I would more than likely drive down and drive back in the same day.
it holds a special place for me because that was the first one that I attended. You hosted that one in April for the draft, and then
Yeah.
you hosted the Buccaneers game. Yeah, Martin there. He can't remember the last one that he went to, but no surprise there. But I did think today when I was planning my annual leave at work that the Newcastle Meatley, I was literally going to drive to Newcastle, watch the game, and drive back. But because the season's approaching now, I've decided to make, I say, a weekend of it. I'm going to get there about 2 o'clock on the Sunday afternoon, arrange to meet up with some people, have a pre-meet up. I'm going to stay over now because it's just easier. And like you said,
Yeah.
I know the Chiefs fans have said that it's looking likely we're going to outnumber them 3-1. So I know a few faithful have reached out and we're a bit wary of the opposition fans. It's something I'm not worried about. The Chiefs fans that I've been communicating with have seemed that they want to watch it for all the right reasons. It doesn't sound as if it's going to be kind of like a rivalry. And I think it's something that I'm keen to grow. As you've said, we watched 8 games together last year. So if we can do the same again this year, Lee, that'd be bloody amazing, mate.
Yeah. So I completely agree then. I think it's the type of thing that we're going to promote anyway. Basically, this is not your normal English football game. The rivalry, there's going to be no malice or anything like that. It's not going to be a negative rivalry. Just get together, watch the game, respect each other, and just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Easier said than done, obviously, when there's alcohol involved. But that's the thing. Just be adult about it.
Well, I was just about to say, buddy, I mean, a few people have said to me, well documented to use my own words, I'm not saying I'm never going to drink again, but as it stands at the moment, I enjoy coming to the watch parties and taking it all in and not getting in a state that I used to get. So there's going to be that, like the one in London, there'll be a fine mix of some people who want to have a drink, some people who don't. The Newcastle watch party, I've said the same. You're under no pressure to do either. It's up to you, but it is exciting that we're kind of getting these plans in place with the season starting. So Kev has put there that last year was tough with so many red-eye games.
Yeah.
We've got quite a few this year, Kev.
I was going to say, we've got quite a few this year. It's just going to be as bad. Don't we have 6? Don't we have 6 red-eye games this year?
I want to say we have more than that. We only have 2 6 o'clock games, don't we?
No, so I think during the regular season, 6 is the max. It used to be 5. I think we've got 6 now. Because obviously they doubled up on the Thursdays.
So Martin has put that in his
Yes, we did,
defence. He was drinking for 2 because Neil Watson wasn't drinking. Nick,
You can't use that defence. I've done that with Paul.
You would fit right in.
Yeah.
49er Faithful UK. And yes, Jay, the Bristol meetup was planned by the Vikings group and there weren't many of them attend. I think the Chiefs fans are making a weekend of it. So there's a few of them coming up to Newcastle on the Saturday. But with it being local to where I am, I'm going up on the Sunday. I think Gary Thorpe might be around on the Saturday night. So I think at the moment, I've got about 35 to 50 49ers fans who have either made definite plans to travel or it's saying it's looking likely that they're going to attend. So I'm pretty blown away by that.
You know, I could definitely be tempted to go up to Newcastle on the Saturday night and go out for a curry with the guys, with anybody that's turning up on the Saturday night. And depending on what my circumstances are at the time, I may even stop over on the Saturday night. If I can probably share a room with somebody, cut the cost down. But it's always a good night. I mean, the last time when I was there on the Saturday night, so Brett Sinclair and Jimmy Waters, they're both down on the Saturday night. So we went out for the night. I can't remember if we had anything to eat. We did because we went to the buffet place, the international buffet place. And then we went, believe it or not, into the arcades. We're like 3 big kids. So we really enjoyed that night. I'm trying to think that might have been a Super Bowl meetup, you know. That might have been a Super Bowl meet. In fact, I think it was because I think it's the one where I ended up in emergency care for 16 hours. Yeah, it was. It was definitely that one. Yeah. So I blame Brett and James.
Yeah. So Colin has put there that he's booked in for Newcastle. Kev, he hadn't checked that about the late games. Now, we've been asked a question, which I just need to find. I had it starred, but so we're joined by one of the great content creators from Twitter, Shifty's 49ers Talk. Now, he's asked, who do we think will have a breakout year? But before you answer that, Lee, before you answer that, buddy, I think we have reached that time in the show where I need to tell everyone about our awesome partners, Power Brand Systems. They empower creators and businesses to build their brand, attract an audience, and grow through effective systems and software solutions. And here we have a few words from them.
Ready to generate more leads from your website, Google, and your social channels without having to spend money on ads? Our platform provides you with an easy-to-use communication stream that sucks in free leads from your website, Google, Facebook, and Instagram, enabling you to reply and convert them into customers from your computer or from our mobile app. We'll even turn your inbound calls into text message conversations, so you'll never miss another lead again. Once you've converted a satisfied customer, you can shoot them a Google review request with a click of a button, which will explode your positive reviews and increase your position in search engines. The system will also pull new reviews from Google and Facebook right into your conversation stream, where you can read and reply. Jumpstart your business by getting started today.
Now, before you answer the question,
Yeah.
we have a request. So Red Jet Shell needs a UK flag for the game she's going to in October. Now, if she's going to the Chiefs game, we may have a couple of people also attending that game, Shell. So leave it with me. I'll do my utmost to get you a flag for that game. And all we ask is you take 3,000 photos and you tag me and Lee in all of them.
If it is the Chiefs game, we've got at least 6 people there.
Yeah.
So Steve and Ben are going. So my brother, who's a Vikings fan, he's going over with Ben, who's part of the group. We've got Martin and Dawn, and we've got 2 other people who've said they're going to be there for the Chiefs game. So I know at least 6 people are going to be there. And I don't know if you guys, so Martin's in the call. I don't know if you've bought your tickets yet, Martin. But I was asked the question after we found out the news about the gold mine, if any of the people who were going to go to the gold mine game for the Chiefs game, are they still going to come across? Because they're going to try and sort something out. So I've passed those numbers on. The fact that's gone down from 40 to 6. And I'm waiting for a response to see if they can actually do anything for you. I don't know if it'll be cheaper tickets than what's currently on sale. It could be that it's some sort of complimentary upgrade. Don't know. So just waiting to find out. I'll find out as soon as possible, Martin. I think I would definitely find out by the watch party at the latest, because I'm kind of hoping the person I'm currently talking to is going to be at the watch party. So we'll definitely get that sorted. And it was actually them that was pressing me for the numbers, saying, look, get the numbers in as soon as possible. Tickets are selling quickly. We'll see what we can do. So once I get that information, I'll let you know what's happening there.
So he's put no, he hasn't.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
I mean, to be honest, I can't promise anything. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's going to be cheaper normal tickets or ordinary tickets and then an upgrade. One of the things that we got back in 2017 now, me, David Ellicott, my older brother Stephen, and my nephew Ben, we got an upgrade to our tickets, and it was quite unexpected. You'll have heard the story quite a few times now. I'll tell it again for the benefit of those that haven't. But we ended up being in the team store on Black Friday. So it was the day after Thanksgiving. It was the day after Thanksgiving. Yeah. So we're in there, and me, David Ellicott, and our Ben spent an absolute fortune. I think between the 3 of us, we spent about $3,500 on merchandise. Actually, I tell a lie. It would have been $3,500 had we not gotten a discount. But we got a huge discount because it was 30% off with it being Black Friday in store. And then one of the guys that worked there, he also gave us his employee discount as well. But the equivalent would have been about £3,500. And there was this guy walking around and he saw us with all the bags, and he came up to David Ellicott and he basically said, "Oh, you've dropped an absolute fortune today." As soon as he heard David's accent, he said, "Oh, where are you from?" So he got talking to David, and he said, "Yeah, we've come over. There's 4 of us come over from the UK. We're going to be at the game on Sunday night." And at which point he said, "Oh, have you already bought your tickets?" I said, "Yeah." "Oh, well, in that case, come to Intel Gate A once you come through the turnstiles, and come up and see us, and I'll organise something. It'll be some sort of concession." So we were expecting either a burger, a free pint, something like that. And once we got up there, he upgraded our tickets from the normal bog standard tickets that we had. I think they cost us about $125 for the ticket in the end zone, second tier up. And he upgraded us to the Levi's 501 Club, which is where the players' family sit or stand and watch the game. And that was amazing. And it meant we could actually walk backwards and forwards with the line of scrimmage. And we had an unbelievable view. We actually met Trent Brown's parents. So we stood talking to them for a while. I've actually got a picture somewhere in here. It was an unbelievable experience. I can't promise that because we didn't expect to get that. But it was such a nice thing for them to do. Right, so I've got the photo.
Yeah, I was going to say again.
So
I'll just take Shifty's comment off. We will answer your question, Shifty. We're just doing what we do best on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
We're jumping all
so
over.
I'm thinking about how I can answer that question.
To be fair, there's my answer's in there that I'm hoping, but it was the same last year. So a few people are shouting out Jordan Mason. I think a few of us are quite high on. I think we're quite high on him, Lee, because he could be utilised quite well in the new kickoff rules. So I think he could be a dynamic player for us. But this is
so that's Trent Brown's dad. So his mother was hanging about somewhere, but we got talking to him, and we said, "Oh, are you a season ticket holder?" And he said, "Oh yeah, my son plays for the team." So, what you call your son? Trent Brown. And we couldn't believe it. We couldn't believe it because just 2 days earlier, let me find that one.
So Martin just put there while you're looking, the free pints probably would have been worth more, which Brett Sinclair will attest to, because I think he spent...
You're not wrong. You are not wrong.
So if Brian, who we're waiting for, if Brian Davis can't join us before we finish off tonight, we will obviously reschedule. We are hoping he can join us because for us, it is only 10 to 9 in the UK. So we can hang on a little bit for Brian. As Lee said, he's been held up in some family stuff, which we can all appreciate. So, wowzers.
So again, I mean, what a year that was. So this is when we had the private two by Keena Turner, and he took us into the SAP training facility. Trent Brown, who was injured at the time, came up and had his photo taken with us. And you can see he's an absolute giant of a guy. I mean, David Ellicott, he's 6'4", and he's been dwarfed by Trent.
Yeah, I was going to say...
It's just unbelievable.
If you've met David in real life, looking at that photo, it is pretty like, wowzers.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a good year that year. Good year. I don't think... Well, I've never had a bad year when I've gone across there. Always something turns up. As David said on one of the videos, just blag it, guys. Blag it. In fact, it was that year. Yeah,
I must admit, Lee, you have set the bar quite high on your trips across the pond. I mean...
You know, honestly, I don't know how it happens. In fact, I actually said that at the end of the game when I recorded a piece when I was quite drunk, because we were drunk that night. And yeah, I just no idea how it happened because we didn't try to make it happen. It was just coincidence. We were in the right place at the right time. And it all started, believe it or not, it all started when Nick Clark emailed us to say, sorry guys, I've had a family emergency. I can't make it down to the stadium to give you a private tour. And then it just went from there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I know the week one game this week, I know there's a couple of the Irish faithful heading across the pond to the game. I know Simon Friskney is heading out to the game, and he is hoping to meet up with the Irish faithful. But while I remember, Lee, before we get to Monday Night Football, you have a little something that you're doing on Sunday. So you are taking part in the Great North Run. So do you want to explain to our American friends what the Great North Run is?
So the Great North Run is the world's largest half marathon. It starts up in Newcastle and it finishes in South Shields, which is just south of the Tyne. So the Tyne River separates Newcastle to the north from South Shields and Gateshead to the south. So you start off in Newcastle, you run through Gateshead, and you end up with South Shields. It's 13.126 miles. I've done it 17 times before. So this will be my 18th Great North run. It's been a while since I did the last one. The last one was 2017. So I'm looking forward to getting back out there because it's always a good day. And this year I'm running for a charity. I'm running for Parental Alienation Awareness, which is basically to help parents who've been alienated from their children by their ex-partner, and it's to bring awareness about that. And I know quite a few people, as it happens, that have all experienced this. I thought it was only 2 people, but as soon as I put the sponsorship form on, quite a few people actually got in touch with us, which I was surprised about, especially coming from some of the people who I thought had a very good relationship with their children, and they didn't have any issues. So yeah, a lot of people have said thank you for doing this because it's close to their heart. Yeah, so yeah, I will be running the Great North Run for charity. The link is in the description to this video. I'm currently at £775. If I can make £1,000 by Sunday, that would be absolutely amazing, because that would be double my original target.
So the reason we're shouting it out, so Simon Brown, who is a member of the UK Faithful, he has donated a prize, hasn't he, Lee? So if you donate to Lee's charity and you send proof that you've made a donation, there's going to be a draw. But I just want to say thank you for choosing that charity. Yeah. It is something close to my heart. Now, before we bring Brian on, Martin wants to know, does your brother secretly wish he was a Niners fan? And Redjet Shell has said that she has a photo adventure waiting, but you must be sober. But Lee, we have Brian Davis, who is a sports media freelancer, host of the Niners Radio on YouTube at Niners Radio 49, ready in the back room. Here he is. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, how you guys doing? Brian. It is now about 4 minutes before the top of the hour of 1 o'clock. I just got done doing an interview with the former voice of the San Diego Chargers and Seattle Seahawks, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, who used to do drive time Sports 6 Extra 690 1060 in the greater San Diego area, just doing our 2024-25 NFL preview. So it's been a busy day, fellas. I know it's past people's bedtimes for some of the kiddies out there getting ready to go to bed, and it's like head towards the afternoon hours here in San Francisco.
Yeah, it looks lovely and warm over there, Brian. It certainly looks a lot better than what it is in the UK at the moment.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, lots been going on, a lot of news stories with the 49ers that just keeping up on that story. And the people in the UK, you guys, keep your thoughts and prayers with Ricky Pearsall, that just ugly incident in downtown San Francisco back last Saturday afternoon. I didn't get I was heading towards the Giants game when word went down that he got shot down there at Union Square. You've been there before, right, Lee?
Yeah, I've been there a few times.
Yeah, it was just one of those attempted arm rob. Fortunately, he is doing better. He's going to miss the next 4 games, though. But that's just puts things in perspective, you know. Nothing, and they did catch the suspect. We are for people who are on Niners Radio 49. We should be getting word what the district attorney will be doing. Take that next step of holding them accountable for. So, you know, but the thing is, everything is set. Everything, everybody's accounted for. Aiyuk and Williams got signed, and we're ready for football there next week on Monday night.
Yeah, we're definitely ready over in the UK. We're getting excited about that. We're due to do our preview show tomorrow night on the podcast. So we're getting ready to do that. I think the Trent Williams signing this week has getting rid of all of our nerves going into the season. Hopefully they're not going to be too rusty. And we hit the ground running on what will be Tuesday morning for us, 1 o'clock or 20 past 1 Tuesday morning, and getting our first win under our belt.
It'll be Tuesday morning when the kickoff bell rings for Monday Night Football, which will be getting its 55th season. And it's going to be a good one. The Niners taking on the New York Jets. The last time that the Niners opened the season against the Jets, you could go back to 1998, the Garrison Hurst run against the Jets at Candlestick, or at 3Com Park at Candlestick point, yours truly was at that game to see that run. It was still to this day the longest 96-yard touchdown run is the longest in franchise history.
Yeah, I remember that game. I remember that run. Used to really like Garrison Hurst.
Oh, man, Garrison Hurst, thinking if he didn't break his foot in that playoff game on the very first play of the scrimmage against the Falcons, they may have gone and won that game, and they might have beaten the Vikings to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So, Brian, we've been telling our viewers that you have a lot to do with the Turkey Bowl. Obviously, that's where I first met you in person. We'd been friends on Facebook for a year, and after the Turkey Bowl back in 2015, myself and David Ellicott had been in the Kezar pub having a couple of pints, watching the early Thanksgiving games on the TV. We walked out, and you were walking down the street after finishing up at the Turkey Bowl, getting all your formalities done.
Yep.
Do you want to tell us about your involvement with the Turkey Bowl?
Well, Turkey Bowl, I cover high school football. I've been doing the sports freelance media streaming since in this business since 2000. I also covered, I've done University of San Francisco baseball for nearly a quarter century. I left 2 years ago. It was about that same time I got promoted to be a guy named Brian Bauer, who ran him and Dina Howard both ran Niners radio. And they didn't want to do it no more. I told them, said, Brian, I would love to take over and try to incorporate some new stuff, though. But it's turned out to be good. I've done some great interviews, and we were there nearly 2 years ago on that Saturday, on that that stormy Saturday night in Fremont in the East Bay, where we got a chance to meet the Marx brothers, Mark Clayton, Mark Duper. If you want to take a look at those podcasts, they're on Facebook.com/@Niners Radio 49. That was a great night, though. Went for a good cause.
Night. Yeah. Unbelievable night. I got to meet John Taylor and Eric Wright. I got to meet Jed York. So I stood and had a good conversation with Jed York for a good 20-25 minutes. So that was completely unexpected. As was actually meeting Eric Wright and I can't believe his name's just gone. I've just been talking about him.
Who, when you went to San Francisco?
Wide receiver. Number 82, John
Taylor.
No, his name's gone. Somebody else was out here. His name is completely gone.
Oh, well. So, whilst you're grabbing your thoughts, Brian, we did do the shout out to Ricky at the start of the show. As you said, even in the UK, we were obviously touched.
Sorry, it was John Taylor.
Saw the news. Yeah, I was going to say John Taylor, 82. Jasmine's favourite player because of the surname. But, Brian, I've heard a lot about this Turkey Bowl. So I made the trip over to San Francisco last year, but unfortunately it was the week before, so I wasn't able to watch the Turkey Bowl. But I did make the pilgrimage to Kezar Stadium, and I've heard Lee talk lots about this game. Now, I'm right in what I think with my homework. It's been played on Thanksgiving at Kezar since the 1920s, and it's a tradition.
You're exactly right. It's a San Francisco tradition. They played numerous years there. In fact, when I was in high school at George Washington High School, we've in the 2 of the 3 years I was there, they were playing in Turkey Day. We lost to our rival Galileo in 1992 by 1 point. They were actually our rival. I'm going to get on the bus, so just give you a heads up. So we lost to them by 1 point. That was our rival. In fact, a lot of the players who went to we grew up in the same neighborhood, so it was a big time rivalry. And then 1993, we lost to Woodrow Wilson at the same place. Wilson beat us. That's the high school my mother graduated back in the 70s. And then they disbanded after in the spring of 1984. We got like 4 or 5 players coming to George Washington, while the rest ended up going to McAteer, that school has been disbanded more than 2 decades ago. And McAteer ended up winning Turkey Bowl in 1994. We lost to our rival Galileo in the playoff. But Turkey Bowl is exciting. The play at Kezar Stadium, the Niners' old stomping grounds, a lot of Thanksgiving traditions. It's a great it's a great event. It's kind of the Turkey Bowl and the high school Turkey Bowl version. That's the Super Bowl of high school football in San Francisco.
Yeah. This is why I always try and get over at Thanksgiving, because one of the things that both me and David Ellicott like doing is going to the Turkey Bowl on Thanksgiving, watching that game first, and then obviously straight over to the Kezar and watching the rest of the Thanksgiving games in there. It's such a brilliant day, as long as the weather's okay. I remember back in 2019, it was absolutely Baltic. It was so cold, it was unbelievable. And that was the day, I think, the storms. There was a widespread flooding in the Bay Area. I know there was a few people lost their lives that night of Thanksgiving because the rain was coming down that heavy. So we've got another Bay Area native in the chat, Brian, Red Jet Shell, and she said that George Washington High School used to be dubbed the Wash House.
Yep. That's I live in the area I'm at, though, and there's a this is one fun fact. George Washington and Wilson, they became Philip Burton High School because a lot of kids the campus where Burton is now, they used to be over on Silver Avenue off Silver, and a lot of those kids that became Philip Burton.
Right, and that's where Red Jet Shell went. Philip Burton High School. And then that's right. Riding on the bus doing this podcast. I don't drive in the city because it's too much of a hassle, though.
It's
too
awesome,
much of a hassle.
It's awesome that you're live from San Francisco. That's why we're beaming. Yeah. Not only are you on a bus, you're in San Francisco live on our show, so we do appreciate it, buddy. Right. So and then so I've been involved with Niners radio since 2016 or 17. So this is like this is either my 7th or my 8th year doing this. This is beginning my 3rd as a full-time mediator, information director for football, and we do a lot of stuff. Go out and about in the community, trying to really form. I want to get a chance to try to do a Niners Radio 49 chapter locally, where we get all the Niner fans to watch some football. I'm trying to build something here. It's been delayed the last couple of years because of some unfortunate circumstances with my main network, Satellite Digital Media, because of the last few years. But just going out to the community, going out to the community.
Yeah, I've got a picture here, Brian, of when we first met. Just stick that on the screen there. I think we've both aged gracefully since then. So this was 9 years ago, believe it or not. Which
wow, 2015,
unbelievable.
That's when they were. That's when they had they were doing the Super Bowl though too. The Super Bowl was in the Super Bowl was in the Bay Area. Which, by the way, the Super Bowl will be back here in 2026. So if the Niners were to go to the Super Bowl, do you think the Mist will give you a hall pass, a sneak out, come out here to watch the Super Bowl coverage or something?
You know what? If we get in the Super Bowl when it's at Levi's and I can't get a ticket for the Super Bowl, I think I definitely come out to San Francisco to watch it.
Yeah, you should. You should.
Thing. Yeah.
That's the next best thing. I mean, don't, because now Super Bowl tickets are like $10,000. I mean, when you went to a Super Bowl back in like in 88, 89, you're paying like $100. Now you're paying like but at least 100 times more, or average at least 50 times more, or just the tickets alone, 400. You're paying, if you're buying them exclusively where it's sell for the market. If you're a season ticket holder alone, you're paying 5 times more, at least 5 times more than you were paying back then.
Yeah, it's a bit of a rip-off now. They've completely priced your ordinary fan out of the Super Bowl. Having said that, I do know a few people who I'm going to class as ordinary fans who have basically mortgaged their house to go to the game. And obviously we've lost those games. So it's a little bit of a shame that they've spent so much and didn't get to see us win a Super Bowl. But even last year, I had considered going to Vegas and just watching the game in a bar in Vegas. But the only thing that put us off is the fact that I was still going to be paying £2,000 for the 4 or 5 days away in Vegas. I think, like I said, once it gets to Levi's, the Super Bowl, if we're there, I think I'm definitely coming to San Francisco, regardless of whether or not I can get into the stadium. I'll definitely come and watch it in one of the bars. It'll probably be the Golden Gate Tap Room, to be honest, because the screens in there are massive.
So Martin's put there, Brian, that
the good thing for me for when the Super Bowl comes back to the Bay Area, back in 26, it's like a that's going to be fun. Go to Radio Row, and it's a transportation train ride back.
Still there. We still got you. You dropped for a second.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going through a little bit of a reception trouble, so I'm going to give you guys just a heads up.
Yeah, no problem, Brian. No problem. Yeah, I mean, there's so much to do with San Francisco. The last time the Super Bowl was there and they had the whole Super Bowl village down near the port of San Francisco, that looked brilliant. It looked really interesting to go down there. And it's a perfect place to have it. I'm saying that ironically because, I mean, Levi Stadium is 45 miles to the south of San Francisco. But you can understand why everything's in San Francisco, because for all intents and purposes, when people hear that the Super Bowl's at Levi Stadium, they don't think Santa Clara, they immediately think San Francisco. And that's where all the stuff's going to be. And it's a great city to have it there. It's so picturesque, so scenic. I can't wait for it to get back there. And with any luck, if we are there, with any luck, that means we've been to the Super Bowl 3 years running. And we'll be going for back-to-back championships.
That would be pretty epically. So,
yeah. The thing is, we're just trying to focus on the first, win the first one for the first time in 3 decades first before you can even think about back-to-back, because with this whole salary cap thing, that's hard. Salary cap is no joke. So, but I've gotten faith with both Shanahan and Lynch, what they're doing. They're going to make the right choices to see if they could, when we'll wait for that when the off season comes or after the season, what they're going to do and, try to go for it again.
Yeah, definitely. Right, so we've gone well over our normal hour, Brian, so we'll let you go now, let you get to where you're going. Thank you for joining us. What we'll do is we'll put all your social media links in the description to the video, as well as within our group page, so people can follow you on Twitter, on Instagram, follow you on YouTube, and get all your channels there. Yes.
Make sure everybody, if you're watching, it's youtube.com/@NinersRadio49. And more importantly, please hit the subscribe button. Goal is trying to get 1,000 subscribers. Yeah, Red Jet Shell, if you're watching this, please spread the word. Make sure you click that subscribe button. We want to get many subscribers we can possibly can. We need to get like 1,000 subscribers, and we're building for this, though.
Yeah, well, good luck with that, Brian, and enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, I got to get it's now 1:13, 13 minutes past the top of the hour, 1 o'clock, 2 minutes before the quarter of the hour, 1 o'clock. I got to get back to work. So a lot of planning, very short time. Get ready for, by the way, Monday, next week, will be season premiere of 49er Tailgate at Levi Stadium on Niners Radio 49. I'll be doing the taping, and I'll post it up and put it on. And make sure I want to get the link of this podcast, too. I want to share it with everybody.
Yeah, we'll do, Brian. No problem.
Thank you.
Cheers, Brian. Catch you later, mate. So, that's a very good idea, to be honest. Saving up for Super Bowl in 2026 at Levi's, regardless of who's there. I think that's an epic idea, to be honest.
So just for clarity, Martin Hughes is the one who suggested that Andrea, not Paul Hope. Yeah. Martin Hughes, joking. To be fair, it was good to have Brian on. I know he was joining us on his phone from a bus in San Francisco. I was going to say at the end, but he's done the plug there. We will obviously try and support best we can. So I know he's just said there his goal is to get to 1,000 subs. So Red Jet Shell has followed and subbed. I will share the links on Instagram, on Twitter. There's a few other content creators like there's Crystal, there's Aaron from 49ers First Takes that are trying to reach that 1,000. We were lucky enough, Lee, to reach that 1,000. We still got 1,000. We haven't lost too many in the off season, but I did want to say, did you know, before we finish off, how the Turkey Bowl started?
I did, but I have forgotten, so you'll have to refresh
So
my memory because I did do some research into it.
I was going to say, I did do some homework because I know this is a topic close to your heart.
Yeah.
So the tradition came about by accident because of a rainout of the annual game between Polytechnic and Lowell, rival public schools near the east edge of Golden Gate Park. The game was moved from Friday before Thanksgiving to Thanksgiving morning, and the concept has stuck. And as Brian said when he first joined us, it is a San Francisco football tradition. And if you are out in the Bay Area at Thanksgiving, I would strongly urge to go watch the game because it's something you've enjoyed.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think it only costs $5 to get in, so it's nice and cheap. They sell bottles of water there. Somebody rocks up with a barbecue, and they sell burgers, hot dogs, that type of thing. And like I said, as long as the weather's fine, it's a really good event to watch. If it's cold, it's cold. So yeah. But I want to go back to this question. Hopefully, Shifty is still in the chat. So what I was going to do, I was going to caveat it by I'm not going to give a rookie's name because to me that's not a breakout year. If you come into the league as a rookie and you have a great year, I don't see that as a breakout year. You've started hot and you continue hot. So for me, I'm going to go for someone that you probably don't think is having a breakout year. I'm going to go for Juwan Jennings. So we know how good he is. The rest of the league kind of doesn't know how good he is. And I get the feeling he's going to have a lot more to do in the team this year. I think he's trusted a lot more than what he has been at the start of his career as he's gradually come on. And I think he's going to have a big year this year. So I'm looking at Juwan Jennings. I'm not going to put a figure on it, but I think he'll get anywhere between 800 and 1,000 yards.
Well,
I think he's going to be used quite a bit. And that's a big thing to say considering we've spent a first-round pick on Ricky Purcell and we've also got Jacob Cowing, who does look very useful as well.
Well, he's your boy after the Super Bowl, isn't he? Joanne and third.
He is, you know. I mean, so there's another good point. So I did say the next jersey I get was going to be a Juwan Jennings jersey. It's more than likely going to be a DH Gate rip-off, but I'm still going to get a Juwan Jennings jersey purely because of that. I mean, I've liked him from day one anyway.
Nah, it'd be a good one. So Nicholas has said Demo. Jay Peplo has got a surprising one. CMC for breakout. Could you imagine how much trouble our opponents would be in if that was to happen? I suppose if you look at CMC standard, if he was to elevate, that is what Jay means. But I do like that.
Yeah, I know exactly what he means. So, I mean, let's go back to last year's Bowlies that I predicted that CMC was going to smash the Russian record.
You did.
Yeah.
So
I don't know where near it, like, but
Alex Simpson
he might do it this year.
Has already messaged me asking when the bold prediction pod would be out. And his exact wording, get my phone out now, was he will have his notepad and pen ready, which I have no doubt, given that he is a 49ers fact checker. And he also shared, do you know the breaking news from Mr. Kent yesterday? I said I would give Alex Simpson full credit for this this text. He said that a parking attendant doesn't count as a head office source. Now make of that what you want, of where he's saying Mr. Kent got his source from. But I did say to Alec before we finished off, Lee, I would give him the credit for that tonight. But the show has flown by, and we do try to keep it to an hour on a Wednesday. We are a bit fluid that we can go over. I think we pushed it to the max last week, Lee. I think we finished at, 11 o'clock at night last Wednesday?
Yeah. I think it was 10:30.
It felt a lot later, but I think that this is the link to the Niners Radio. I will share the link on all our social media platforms as we always do. We always share the link for the show.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
So,
it was 11 o'clock, so we didn't start till 9:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It was 11 o'clock.
So that will be shared. Brian, when you watch back, we will share the link, and we do appreciate you sharing our show. Dan has joined us. He believes Brown is going to have a breakout. So maybe we ask Gareth this tomorrow for Shifty. Do you know when we're doing our pod? Maybe we say to Gareth we had a question on the live.
Yeah,
Red Jet Shell, appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Shell.
Is there anything else, Lee, that we may not have covered, or anything you wanted to talk to these good people about?
No, I'm just getting. I'm looking forward to tomorrow night's podcast recording now, so we can actually get into the season preview and the game preview, which is all going to be one show tomorrow night rather than splitting them. And I'm looking forward to giving out some of those boldies. Hopefully, we have better luck this year than what we've had last year or any other year. I haven't said that, but yeah, I just can't wait till Tuesday morning. Get that first game out of the way.
So, as Lee has said there, people, if you're unsure of our format, we do a preview before each game, and then we do another show where we review the game. And now we have the wonderful live, which is different to the podcast. We'll have a topic each week. We'll bring on different guests. If you would like to be a guest on the 49er Faithful UK Live, do reach out to me or Lee. We are taking bookings for guests. It is nice to get new faces on. I know Gary Thorpe, Alex Simpson and Matty Smith, who I said last week Lee have launched their own channel, are keen to jump on and explain what they do. I do appreciate your time as always, El Presidente. You are a busy man. Your phone hasn't stopped going, which welcome to my world.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, as soon as we get off this, I'm going straight downstairs to study for that exam on Friday. Yeah. So I am busy, as you said, this week, but it's a good busy.
I won't keep you too much longer. I just want to say thank you to Brian for joining us. It was much appreciated. Do like and subscribe to Brian's channel. For those wanting our thoughts ahead of Monday Night Football, do watch out for the pod dropping in the next couple of days. As I've already said, we will be back next week, 8 p.m. UK time. Guests and topic to be announced. And as always, thank you for watching. Tell all your friends, like, subscribe, all the good stuff. And all that is left for me to say is until next week, Lee, stay safe and go Niners.
Bang, bang, Niner gang.
We love the San Francisco 49ers deep in our heart. Like Joe Montana in the corner, Detroit. Garrison Hurst, stiff farm.